Primal Rage is a 1994 arcade game developed by Atari that... What? That's not what we're talking about here? Oh, Primal Rage the Bigfoot movie. Ah, that makes more sense. Primal Rage is a 2018 Bigfoot movie where Bigfoot is more like a hunter than just a beast in the woods. He uses tree bark as armor, he has weapons, and shoots arrows. Definitely not something you would want to come across in the woods. And unfortunately for our main characters, they do just that. First, we meet Max and Ashley. Max just got out of prison and Ashley's picking him up. He was put away because he hit a kid with his car while he was high. But that's all in the past. He's clean now and ready to start a new life. Ashley isn't paying attention and she accidentally hits a guy with her car. Oops. He's pretty messed up, but there's no way they did all that damage. Ashley calls 911, and while on the phone, Max sees something in the woods, and it starts throwing rocks at them. One hits Max right in the head, and he falls down over the hill and into the water. Ashley jumps in after him, and after fighting the river for a little while, she manages to get Max to dry land and wake him up. But they aren't safe yet. They both are freezing and need to make a fire to get warmed up. The sheriff responds to the 911 call Ashley made and finds their car, but it was pushed down a cliff with the parking brake on. Something big must have gotten a hold of it. The sheriff does believe in Sasquatch, but for now, he's not a suspect. The next morning, the couple are well enough to try to make it to the road, but Ashley's clothes are missing. Alright. Well, really, that just means we're stuck with a shirtless Max for most of this movie. Well, there you go, ladies.
That's it?
I mean, unless you want my pants too.
Now here's something I don't really get. The road traveled along the river. I understand they were washed down the stream quite a ways, but they wouldn't be that deep in the woods. It might take them 15 minutes, a half hour max to reach the road. But if that happened, I guess we wouldn't have much of a movie. Bigfoot watches them from behind the trees, but he doesn't really do that much. Luckily for our group, they hear some hunters in the distance. Maybe they can get them some help. Max kinda looks like Chris Pratt here, and that got me wondering what other movies he's in. And it turns out, this is the only one. He does a good job, and he's the lead, so what happened? Well, after a little digging, I found out that he was in an accident while taking a break from filming this movie, and had to get his leg amputated. Well, I'm sure that allowed for some pretty cool effects later on. Anyway, back to the movie. These hunters are jerks. Big jerks. They know that Max is a convict and treat him like crap. They joke with him and give him a hard time, but in the end, they agree to take them to their truck to call for help. Bigfoot's watching them all from the woods, and the hunters are still messing with Max and Ashley. They're just creepy enough that you don't know their intentions. Are they gonna help him out? Or are they going to do something bad? Really bad. Like rapey bad. Well, they don't get a chance, because the group splits up to go pee, and Bigfoot finally attacks. It's cool to see him decked out like a warrior and using a bow and arrow. He's a pretty good shot, too. He picks off the hunters one by one until it's just Ashley, Max, and the leader. But they're in no condition to fight. Bigfoot ends up taking Ashley and the hunter back to his lair. And Max? Well, he's picked up by this old ugly witch in the woods. She patches him up, and when he wakes up, the sheriff is in there waiting for him in the cabin. He knows Bigfoot did this, and that he must be stopped. He also fills us in on some Native American lore. When a chief dies, its spirit comes back as the Oma, or a Sasquatch. They live for centuries in the woods, and during that time see the many bad things that man have done. So now, it's out of control and needs to be put down. In Bigfoot's cave, we see Ashley and the hunter. Bigfoot comes out of the shadows and quickly kills the hunter, leaving Ashley all alone. Bigfoot is smart enough to cauterize its wounds, and he starts making dinner. Ashley ends up getting a hold of a big tooth, and she starts to sharpen it on a rock. She slices Bigfoot, but come on, what's she gonna do? Just then, Bigfoot senses Max and the sheriff and goes out to take a look. giving Ashley time to escape. They all fight in the woods. Bigfoot kills the sheriff, and Max finds Ashley. They're reunited for just a little bit, but he knows what needs to happen. It's time for a one-on-one fight between Max and Bigfoot. Bigfoot is a pretty big dude, and Max can't do much against him. He ends up getting his foot stuck in a bear trap. Hey, that's putting those amputee effects to good work. Bigfoot, who kinda looks like a pissed off Rafiki from The Lion King, goes in for the kill, and Max stabs him over and over again, then crushes his head with a rock. Ashley makes it to the road, about time, and it looks like Max is gonna be okay too. But that is until he gets an arrow to the chest, and more Bigfoot come out of the woods. Well, that was Primal Rage, and I would say it was pretty good. The beginning is a little slow to start, but once Bigfoot starts attacking everyone, hold on, because it's a wild ride. The effects look great, from the blood to the Bigfoot costume. It might be the best I've seen yet. I do like how Bigfoot wears armor and uses weapons. I understand how some people might not like that, but for me, it was a welcome change from the normal Bigfoot formula. The music is really good, and the cinematography looks great. It turns out they wanted to use a rainy, overcast feeling for this movie, and they got it. But filming during a drought in California meant they had to use fog machines and giant sheets to block out the sun. It turns out it did rain, but on the last day of filming. I enjoyed Primal Rage. Give it a watch. I give it 3.5 ugly old witches out of 4.
I mean, really, what's a moose gonna do with a cell phone? moose with a cell phone.
Right. Guys, we're just trying to get back.
It's not so much the technology, but it's the hoof. Can't reach those little buttons, man.